Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say hello and welcome. Welcome to another exciting edition of the program ASHFORD GARLEY Live on Brace Radio Africa. Today is Monday, July 10th, 2023, and it feels great to be back home. It's been a minute following the break. Oh, man. Well, as always, Father God, we just want to give you praise. We want to magnify your name. We want to bless your holy name for what you've done and continue to do for all of us. Father God, we are grateful to you. In the name of Jesus, we have given thanks. Some heard the name. Some heard people talk about it. You've gotten the opportunity tonight to match the name to the voice. The mastermind, the doctor of love, the golden voice of radio. Tough times don't last, tough people do. Here comes Africa's media do extraordinaire. Ash for the giant, and now you know me, Garley. Welcome to the show. And I'd like to say hi to my cousin, A.B. Bobley. He's watching from Golden Valley, Minnesota. Anthony Gate is also in the building. And Anthony is saying JMB is in hot water. Wow. Oh, wow. Very interesting. And let's see what the rest of the panelists have in store tonight. I want to say hi to Dr. Bawu. He's a dentist, professional dentist here in the state of Minnesota. Dr. Bawu, James Bawu. Let us show who you're having a great time tonight. Welcome to the show, everybody. Let me introduce to you now my panelists and co-hosts. Yeah. We have a special guest in the show tonight, and very soon as we get signal for him, we will connect with him. Thanks, Anthony. He said you're looking great, big brother. As for the giant god, thanks for the compliment, bro. Well, folks, how was the small little break? Let me begin with Mrs. Lady Brooks Roberts, my co-host, Mrs. Roberts. Welcome back. Welcome to the show. How's
Thank
everything?
you. Great. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Well, I want to say good evening to all of you. Doing well. Had a great minute. Though I missed you guys, but it was a great way, of course, to celebrate the Independence Day. Everybody, so we all took a little time. Great time. Back. Welcome, all of you.
Okay, Dr. James T. Fisk.
Hi, Ashford, and my greetings to the fellow panelists. And I just want to once more say welcome to people up in listening and viewing land, and we are hoping to have another explosive edition of ASHFORD GARLEY Live with British Radio Africa. Thank you.
That's good. Coach Q, welcome to the show, bro.
Well, it's good to be back, man. Thanks for the invite again. Good to be back. Looking forward to having this great conversation about our beloved country and the direction we should be headed in, and people who shouldn't be leading us in that direction. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
The Reverend Dr. Idatus Ade.
Greetings to all of you wonderful guys. Such a great brief sabbatical we took from each other, man. I just feel so contagious in terms of missing you guys and how we're going to mix up tonight. Greetings to all of you wonderful Liberians. Our country is at stake once more, and we are here to discuss Liberia. Thank you for watching us. God bless.
Okay, well, let us take a look at the menu tonight. What do we have in store? You have to be 21 years old in order to have some beverages tonight, alcoholic beverages. We have fufu with palava sauce. I don't know when the last time you had fufu with palava sauce, but for the political menu tonight, why don't we join the Reverend Idatus had it? Pastor Ade, please unmute your device and give us the political menu.
Well, certainly the political menu for now actually has to do with, the current tour that the Honorable Vice President Joseph Yuma Boyka did, the three-county tour, and then certainly the press conference today, and his response to what was stated today. Thank you.
Well, we have a special guest, and as soon as he signals, we will be bringing him live tonight. But I want to begin with Coach Q. Coach Q, you listen to the hottest news in town today about Henry Petro Costa, and what is your take?
Yeah, so again, I was looking forward to this conversation mostly because of that. Because it is the hottest thing that's going on right now. Here's what we know. We know that Mr. Boycott and his campaign are not honest people.
Say that again.
We know that Mr. Boycott and his campaign are not honest people.
Why do you say why you say that?
Well, I'm going to give plenty of reasons why. Just give me a second. We know that there are things that were said to the general public for someone who's running to lead the future of our country and our children that was simply untrue. For example, Mr. Boycott was suspected of having a mild stroke. There were many posts about that stroke. Mr. Boycott claimed at the time that it was just a routine checkup. Henry Pedro Costa came out today and told us that no, in fact, it wasn't. Not only was it not a routine checkup, this man's health is deathly ill to a point where he's given a time frame where he's going to have a heart attack. So it's not like, oh, well, he has something wrong in his no. A 6 months period. He held this secret from the Liberian people, knowing that secret matters. That's dishonesty, people. That's dishonesty by omission. He kept that secret. And Mr. Costa spoke
30
to
seconds.
that.
30 seconds.
We also know that Mr. Boycott was willing to sell one of our valuable resources in the country to foreigners. God knows who these foreigners were if they were to give him $30 million. This is the type of person who will sit there for 66 bad deals for our country, and he won't care. He will betray any and everyone for the sake of power.
Thank you. Idatus added, now that he came into the gate swinging at Boycott when I asked him question about Costa. What about this Boycott thing that gets to these ANC guys? Talk to me. Unmute your device, please.
Yes, Ashwell, I am quite surprised at Mr. Peter's conclusions immediately, because if that were so, then certainly Mr. Henry Costa will become the credible witness against all of the allegations he stated against Mr. Cummings. Unfortunately, Mr. Costa is not a medical doctor. Unfortunately, it is only the Honorable Joseph Boyka who has publicly made open his medical records compared to any other candidate in the race. Unfortunately, this idea that you will believe someone who says something but refuses to call his financial backers, or those who, met him in the private hotel and told him that the Lord said he's going to be the next president, amidst the fact that there are no anecdotal data or research data to prove that Mr. Costa in any way comes close to being in contest with any of the current candidates. So what we saw today was comical. I was a bit disappointed because I do know Mr. Costa not on a very exceptional personal level. I didn't hear anything new. What he did was to bring forth information that simply was rumor mill and finally distilled in a more organized fashion, which is better than the previous performances that we've seen on Facebook. So what happened today clearly was an individual who in my opinion, is yet looking for political relevance and has not found one yet.
Thank you. Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts.
Yes. Why? That what where we
Mrs. Roberts, we can't hear you. You're breaking up. I don't know what's going on with your device.
can you hear me now?
Well, you keep coming in and out, but go ahead and speak. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead and speak. I mean,
Okay.
you're still breaking. Go ahead.
The fact that the summary of that whole press conference for me thought that was both people for
She's breaking up bad. She's breaking up bad.
You're breaking up real bad. You might want to please log up and log back in, and as you do that, let us bring in Dr. Face. That.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, if Mr. Costa says something about Mr. Boakai, did he provide any evidence to support his claim against Mr. Boakai? We all know Mr. Boakai is old. Okay, the potential that he may be sick is also there. Okay, but um, what is Costa's end game as far as the revelations that were made today? That wasn't clearly identified, and it's important for us to know that. Then we can more critically analyze what he was able to do today, because motives are very important in the display, especially at this juncture of our politics in Liberia. So there was a nothing burger today. There was nothing that was headlining. Okay, he didn't say things that we already didn't know, and most of what he said was not rooted in substance. So I wouldn't spend much time on it.
Okay. Don't go. I still need to come back to you, Dr. Face, but want to introduce the Honorable Thomas Kura. Thomas Kura is, in fact, the running mate to Madam Bendu Kroma, who wants to be the next president of Liberia. And Honorable Kura was picked as the running mate. Honorable Kura, hello and welcome to the show. Thomas, are you there? Okay. While we wait for him to make some type of adjustment, let us go to Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
That's much better.
Great. My thing is that I think there was some headline made in this revelation. Why it's true that we don't have documents to show evidence yet. We're hoping that they'll come. What I got out of it that was more of a headline is that VP Boycott asked them to be the ones to go and sue Mr. Cummins. And he would pretend not to be because he was at the time the person in charge. That's a headline because, when all these accusations were being made, he said nothing. And it's now evident that it is true that he was from his own nephew, so to speak. So I took that seriously because the words of Shakespeare is, "He who steals my purse steals trash, but he who robs me of my character to die." So to know that they orchestrated such thing against a person, whether he's a candidate, just a lie, it's very, very, very terrible.
Mrs. Roberts, I'm afraid, but you are breaking up bad. We can't get a fitting sentence out of you.
Okay.
If you want to just do the audio, that will be fine. But we can't get anything out of you. While we wait, as you make that adjustment, Honorable Kura is here. But just then, it's 15 past the hour, and at this time, it is my pleasure to present another edition of Brief Editorial
No,
Uh,
I don't have it with me.
you did,
Unless
Ashford, can you send Wilbur the link? Ashford, send Wilbur the link, please.
okay. I already did.
Wilbur is waiting for the link.
Like I already did. Well, Honorable Kuwak, welcome to the show. Okay. Now I want to play a clip here tonight, folks.
Decisiveness to ensure accepted the task and certainly became something. Ambassador Joseph Boakai accepted their proposal and dropped the idea of the Democratic Alliance of Liberia, which he had asked Mr. Uri to create. He then tried to convince Mr. Uri to come on board the so-called Grand Alliance formed by Brownie Samukai, Francis Yumale, and Kofi Woods. To this request, Honorable Benana Uri vehemently refused on grounds that if Ambassador Joseph Boakai felt that the idea of the Democratic Alliance was no longer necessary, then what was the point of forming the so-called Grand Alliance as proposed by Brownie Samukai, Kofi Woods, and others? Mr. Uri proceeded to tell Ambassador Boakai that he did not believe that the decision of the Unity Party was right in abandoning the efforts of all the parties that were working to put the DAL together.
Now, what I gathered from the press conference today, Idatus, you can help me out here. Costa went further to say that in 2017 he was approached that the non-president George Weah, for his support, he refused and gave his support to boycott, and ever since then he has been a strong supporter of the boycott. But the deal came about some $30 million. They went to Ghana, and he was asked to run as president of the country. And something he said, no, I am with my old man, Mr. Boycott. And he was humble enough to say, no, this is the guy that we think can change the country. What happened after that, Idatus? You listen to Costa.
Right. Ashford, listening to that story just got me dumbfounded because number one, Costa said some religious people may have seen vision that he's going to be president. And now you have another group of people who went to him out of nowhere, offering $13 million concerning his candidacy. Who are these investors? What poll did they do? What poll did they take in Liberia to suddenly offer Mr. Henry Costa $13 million to run for the presidency of Liberia? And he in turn stated, give it to Joe Boycott. But then, if these people went and engaged Mr. Boycott and they claimed that he offered the Wologisi Mountain to them in return for their investment in his campaign, but then they come back and say, no, they don't want it. Then why not that? Then why can't they go back to the original plan of giving Mr. Costa the $30 million so he can run for the presidency? That story for me, it's mind-boggling. Not to mention the fact that he calls everybody else's name, but he can never call who these investors are. He also forgets about the fact that you have Article 82 that states that we cannot take money from foreign investors in our elections. So let me be very clear. That conference vindicated the Honorable Joseph Boyka, emphatically clear, and demonstrates once again that he's a man of integrity, because the deal did not go through as evidenced by the fact that he did not select Mr. Costa to run with him.
What is wrong if Costa does not want to disclose his investor's name? Is there anything wrong with that? I mean,
absolutely.
You have been in a business conversation before where you talk about business and you claim not to mention the source or the person who's in fact behind the money. So I don't think there was anything wrong in not disclosing who's behind the money.
Oh, something is absolutely wrong. That is why in these elections, the similar laws we have in Liberia, you ought to disclose who are the people that are sponsoring your campaign because we don't want any favoritism as opposed to working in an environment of fair play. So for Mr. Costa, to not disclose those people who want to offer him $13 million for nothing because they just believe that he can be president. That's the story. I'm looking forward to his evidence to let us know, the public waiting to see who are these investors, who are these people that believe in Mr. Henry Costa so much they give him $30 million, and you will direct them to the Honorable Joseph Boyka, who also forfeits getting $30 million.
So
I'm curious to know.
are you
That's
saying
my
that,
curiosity.
are you saying this the Costa said today that Boyka refused the money, or the people refused to give the money to Boyka?
Well, from his explanation, it was clear that Mr. Joseph Boyka sabotaged personally $30 million by bad mouthing him to the people. But then, in my thinking, if
So
I need $30 million,
in
why
your
would I
thinking,
be sabotaging myself
so in your
who
thinking,
need the
you are
money?
assuming that Boyka refused the money, and it's not the other way
It's,
around. Is
no,
that
no,
what
no.
you're
It's
saying?
not an assumption. It's the statement of Henry Costa. Henry Costa stated that because he attempted to badmouth him and sabotage, that's why both of them lost getting the $30 million. But my thing is, for a desperate man like Joseph Boyka, who so need the money as portrayed by Mr. Costa, why would he sabotage $30 million for the Wologisi mounting, of which he has not become president yet for? But this is what he's reporting, but has yet to tell us who these investors are.
Thank
But in
you.
fact,
Thank
responds
you.
to different rumors.
Coach Q, in the words of Idatus, Boyka is so desperate he can't Jane no Hall. Why would he refuse a $30 million deal?
Yeah, so hopefully you give me this same amount of latitude you've given him over 5 minutes, because this is important. Boycott has never disclosed his medical records. The medical records of a person vying to lead our republic and the lives of our children is extremely important, because his viability as a human being matters moving forward. The people are putting confidence in the fact that you are going to be a leader, not something you're going to advocate that responsibility to someone else. So it is extremely important in any democracy. Secondly, uh, um, boycott also is something Ms. Brooks said I want to emphasize. He said that he was simply a witness in this case against Mr. Cummings. He said that. The Unity Party people repeated that lie over and over again. Now, I'm saying this because there's a pattern here of Unity Party lying and twisting words, just like the Winter Lab Bureau, a bunch of fake degrees, and lie about what they knew and what they didn't know. And now they made our Liberian people not believe that education is important because of these people who make word salads. Thirdly, no one from their party had ever said Mr. Casa was not a credible person. As a matter of fact, they lauded this man and made him the chief spokesman for Mr. Boycott. Now, all of a sudden, that he's telling all he's not credible, that is comical. It is hilarious to anyone who's paying attention. Okay, UP is worrying about polls, who these investors. I'm worried about nationalism. This is why it's important for us to know who's investing in our elections. Nationalism. What do these people stand to benefit from our country? Who are these foreigners? Our law says if you're not a Liberian citizen, you can't even own a property in Liberia. Now you're talking about Mr. Boycott. Instead of Mr. Boycott saying this is illegal, I'm not going to have any parts of it. He's there trying to convince Costa that Costa should they should instead give him the money. No, he was not sabotaging anything. That's not why he was there. And when you speak to people like this, you tell us that you think we're not intelligent people. It is an insult to our intelligence. Boycott did not go into any interview trying to sabotage anything. He went there trying to benefit himself and cut Costa out. And this is deplorable. This is a pattern. Mr. Boycott always lying, making up stories, and UP people spinning anything to make it seem like Boycott did something right or their party did something right. And this is why Liberians are going to vehemently reject them like they rejected them again, because these are not honest people. We all listened to the press conference. You guys never said these people were not, Mr. Costa was not credible. Now all of a sudden he's not credible. That's not how the republic is supposed to be ran. We need honest people who, by the way, knows how the economy works.
Dr. Fisk. But before Dr.
I
Fisk
mean,
comes,
the thing is,
hold on. Before Dr. Fisk coming, I'd like to recognize Wilbert Foley. Wilbert Foley, the son of the sword, and he's a surrogate for Tiawan Gonglo, and we're glad to have you on, Mr. Foley. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ash, for my good friend. How you guys doing, Pastor Idatu? I don't know if I call you
Wonderful.
Pastor on here because this is a political forum. How you guys?
It's okay to drop the title. That's all right.
A very fine pastor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Fisk, you can continue.
I mean, the thing is, with all of the, whether people have problems of Costa or they don't have problems of Costa, let's understand the basics of an evidence. Okay, evidence is something tangible. Okay, it's not you say or I say. Okay, it's very alarming that people talk about trying to sell Wologisi Mountain for $30 million. The same people that say government not supposed to be in the business of creating jobs for its citizens. Okay, so Liberia has been devalued to an extent that a major asset, could be liquidated based on the amount of 30 million. I mean, so that's an allegation. Okay, Costa didn't see Costa present any kind of paperwork to substantiate or what he said. That's why I continue to say. So it's one thing you can come and have a litany of things. Say, oh, this won't happen, that won't happen, and the rest of it. But when you're talking to people who are a little more critical in analysis, then you want to make sure that you're presenting the evidence, with those things that you are saying. And I didn't seem to see that. I'm no Boyka fan. I'll continue to say that. But I don't think that's the best way to go. If you want to say something, you want to make sure that you are backing them up with facts. That's what I continue to say.
Okay, just before Mrs. Bruce comes in, then Foley, we'll take a break. When we come back, more on Henry Costa. Don't go away. This is ASHFORD GARLEY Live.
Grace. ASHFORD Liberia number one vocal, Liberia number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Ham's Vodka, Ham's Honey, Ham's Bitter, and Ham's Original Vodka. Ham's Vodka has no hangover. That's why they say Papa drink, Mama happy. Ham's Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Ham's Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000 We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Ham's Vodka or www.hamsvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Ham's North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Ham's Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Ham's Vodka brings out the real man in you.
I like when he says, Papa drink, Mama happy. So if you own a business out there, then you want us to create awareness for your business, all you have to do please contact Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts of Bridge Radio and, of course, the marketing team, and we will get back to you. Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, what say you?
Yeah, as I was saying before, I was, my internet, whatever was happening. I just thought that what was more profound for me is the fact that Bush was the one that spearheaded the accusation against, or to take Mr. Trump to court. And like I said, while you know, all of these shenanigans that these people play in our politics may seem like, it's only politics, but there's a saying from Shakespeare that says, "He who steals my purse steals trash, but he who robs me of my character leaves me for dead." And I'm very offended by that because I know what lies can do. And to have put him through that intentionally just because they were in cahoots, it's very sad and telling that these people will do anything for a position, to call him a statesman and hear these kinds of accusations. I'm very appalled that this even happened. Why is anybody giving you $30 million to run for president? That's another question. Why? Who does that? People just ask you if they feel confident in you. Of course, they may give you money to fund your campaign, but proposing that's almost an indecent proposal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
would
you.
be sold is also a problem.
Thank you. And Wilbur, want to say thanks for making your presence felt here as the first time as a panelist here, representing the Joan Gonglo. A lot of people refer to the team as the integrity team. In 1 minute, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll circle back to you.
My name is Wilbert Fuller. I have resided in the Pennsylvania area, Southwest Pennsylvania, specifically Delaware County, for the last 21 years. And as you may be aware, last year I contested for the presidency of the Liberian Association of Pennsylvania, which I was unfortunate I did not win. Opponent won, and I commend her for the hard work. But after the elections, I was confronted a lot of people to join one of the leading political parties in Liberia, including the United Party and other parties. I had people call me from Liberia. But I looked at the candidates in the race and I decided that the person that I could throw my weight behind is Councillor Gongo. I didn't know him, never met him. I met him once, but in passing when I went down to City Hall last year to speak on behalf of Bronx County, on behalf of the Bronx County Association, went down to Philadelphia City Hall. That's when I met him. It was just in passing, we took picture, but I knew nothing about him. So a few months ago, I decided that instead of sitting on the fence, we have to get involved to make changes in Liberia. So I reached out to King Gongo, and I was embraced. I said, we can have a dinner for him. My friends said, I can have a dinner for him, which we did. And during that time, I got to actually meet him and got to know who he is. He's a very simple and down-to-earth man. He would pick up the phone and call me. He went, when he traveled and gets back, he would call me or forward. I just landed, and I would go sit with him sometime when he was in the state in Upper Darby. So
30 seconds.
Yes. In short, this is such a simple and down-to-earth man that I can identify with. Besides, I look for integrity, and that is what I saw before I decided to throw my weight to support him. And we are in this to make Councillor Gongo the next president of the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour that was special guest is the Honorable Thomas Kura. Thomas Kura is a Liberian based out of Allentown, PA. He's currently in Liberia getting ready for the campaign. He was handpicked to be the running mate to Madame Bindu Kurma. Honorable Kura, welcome to Brace Radio. And in a minute or two, tell us about yourself. Please unmute your
Thank you very much, Mr. Garley. I'm muted?
No, we can hear you now. And the rest of the panelists, if you it's your device, because we keep hearing noise back there. Go ahead now, Mr. Kura.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Garley, for the invite. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Thomas Kura, and hail from Nima County, and I have lived in the United States for the last, I would say, 27 years, and precisely in the Arlington, Pennsylvania area for 24 years. And I was educated in Pennsylvania. I earned an associate degree in accounting from the Northampton College in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and a bachelor's degree from Kutztown, and graduating with my master's degree in business and concentration in healthcare management. This December, and I have been doing business in Liberia for the past 14 years now, and of course, invested a lot of my money into properties and rental and whatever into Liberia. And I'm so glad that recently my family and I had, initially, I was contacted by a group that was doing the vetting for uh, Mistress Ben Krumah. And they said, "Oh, sir, uh, we have picked your name from the one of the reputable person from the Liberian community somewhere in America," but they didn't tell me. So I said, "Well, okay, thanks." They said, "So, but we're going through the vetting process now." So my family and I had gone to Paris, France for vacation, and then while I was there, about a week to come back, I received a call from the vetting team, both Liberia and the United States, a conference call. Says, "Sir, after our vetting process, we see that you will be the best person based on qualification and what you have done in Liberia, by offering job opportunity to young people, scholarship, and with you being developmental oriented, I think you will be one of those that will young person that will be able to."
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened, but he's in Liberia now, so the
Yeah,
issue.
the networking library is very
Yeah,
bad.
let me go to Idatus, then Dr. Face. Idatus, why would any investor now listen? I'm not a part of any of these political parties or support any of these politicians. Why would anybody, any investor, okay, if you are offering $30
I
million in exchange for a mountain that worth around billions, I'm talking about billions, why would you turn that down? It's not adding up to me.
Are you there?
Yeah, we are here.
I'm
Actually,
sorry for the interruption.
I think Mr. Krua is still trying to speak. Go ahead, Mr.
Okay.
Krua.
Go
I'll come
ahead.
back to your question.
30 more seconds, Mr. Kura, and then we'll go around the room.
Okay,
and
yeah.
we'll ask you a few questions. Come on. Conclude your thoughts.
Okay. So I said, and then to just long story short, and then once I was there, long story short, once out there when they told me, say, "Mr. Kura, we selected you based on your expertise, and as a young man and being very developmental oriented, we think you can do a better job in Liberia." So, and I accepted a cut my trip shop, and I was able to come down to Liberia, and my family went back home, and we have started the struggle, and we are on it, and hopefully by tomorrow or the after tomorrow, we're going to be certificated to be part of this wonderful elections in October.
Okay. Well, as we go around the room now, let me begin with Idatu Sade. But just before he comes in, folks, you're watching from far to near. You see there's a cash app on there. This platform belongs to Liberia and belongs to the people of Liberia. So you can chip in to help out, just for the maintenance of the platform. If you support the CDC, the Unity Party, the Gonglo people, the Cummins people, just see it in your heart to do a little something for this platform so that we can keep up the maintenance.
And you forgot to call.
and Thomas Kura. What is the name of your party, Thomas?
We are growing independent, but we call ourselves the collaborative independent party. So we are independent. I would say that.
Okay.
And one thing, the candidate, my candidate is the only female in the race, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, that's good. Okay, sorry for not mentioning your name, but any words, the Cash App and Zelle on there. Idatus added them first. Idatus.
Yes. So ASHFORD, that is.
Ask a question for Dr. Kura or Mr. Kura.
Oh, you want me to ask him questions?
Answer the question I asked you about somebody.
Oh, okay. Yes.
In exchange for
so ASHFORD, that is
billions of dollars.
Right. So ASHFORD, that is precisely my curiosity, because I know investors don't give money without ROI, return on investment. So I'm highly curious to understanding the rationale behind, Mr. Boyka offered them the Wologisi Mountain, but then they changed their minds, with respect to such a great investment. I will not doubt the fact that as nephew to the Honorable Joseph Boyka, quote unquote, the nephew, that, having been told that he has financiers for this political campaign, give him an audience. But, there's just seem to be missing some other links regarding this story making sense to me, and I have yet to know what the issues are. Who are these people? Where did they come from? What did they see Mr. Costa? What data did they look at to believe and feel convinced that, they would invest in his campaign? Now, you and I know for a fact, that Mr. Costa had declared he wasn't interested in the presidency. So did, the standard bearer, Mr. Benani Ure. And we all knew that Mr. Costa was running for the Senate. So to suddenly find these financiers who are willing to invest $30 million, beats my curiosity. And I'm really looking forward to him to say more. I want to know the names of these individuals.
We should be asking you, Idatu. We should be asking you because you are a member of Costa's party. You are a member of the ALP. Why is this kind of news to you?
Well, ASHFORD, there are people within hierarchy. I'm certainly a member of the GNB TAC team. I've worked with Tilia Yuri when she was the head of the thing. I am certainly a member of the ALP, but I'm looking for more information regarding this story. I just don't seem to be able to process this with a rational consciousness concerning the rejection of $30 million, as well as money that will be so needed. I'm still trying to process that rationale. I'm just not making sense. This story is just not making total sense to me in the context of the fact that if a campaign is desperate, somebody is offering $30 million to Mr. Costa personally, but Mr. Costa said, give it to JNB, and JNB goes there and sabotages it by bad-mouthing Mr. Costa, knowing that he needs the money. I'm trying to process that reality, ASHFORD. I am curious, and I want to know, and Liberians are asking questions concerning the clarification.
Thomas Kura, if things go well, might be the next vice president of Liberia. And with Benu Kruman, Madam Benu Kruman, who is the only female in the race, could be the next president of Liberia. Thomas Kura is a very successful businessman, not only in Liberia, but here in these United States of America. He was handpicked to be the VP to Madam Kruman. With just, 100 more days to election? What do you have for him?
Well, the Liberian Constitution affords every Liberian to participate in these elections. I can only encourage him to fight the best fight that he has, but just in case we do get to the second round of the one-time victory, we're certainly looking forward to his party joining us in building Liberia with the mindset of thinking about Liberia and loving Liberia. Thank you.
Dr. James T. Fisk.
Yeah, I would just first and foremost, I would like to welcome Mr. Kura to the platform, and I'm concerned about two things. If he just introduced himself, if he can tell us a little bit about his running mate, that is what, Miss Krumah, because I'm sure a lot of people, this name will be new to them. So let us know what she is and what her agenda is. And my main question, other than that, is to help me identify one major issue that is a deficit for this weird government that you intend to solve and how you intend to do that.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead, Mr. Kura.
Madam Kroma, she a lady who had worked in the state of California for the last 20 years and then came over here to Liberia and then working for the University of Liberia for the last, let's say, 8 years and just retire, resign. And she had worked, I think the state of California is considered what the third largest economy in the world, if I'm not mistaken. And she works there as an auditor. And she was able to crack a lot of things down. And if you read, like I read a lot of paper from the state of California, and most of the some bad deals that were cracked down. Her names were on it, and a lot of auditing that was done. She did that there, and she had been working for the University of Liberia for the last 8 years, and she holds a master's degree in international relations, and she's having an accounting degree too, in a bachelor degree in accounting, and she just, she's somebody who is very compassionate, and she's very much developmental oriented too, I can say, and she cares of the people. She hails from Grand Cape County, and Madam Kroma had been around for a very long time. Her father was the first person that established in the Muslim and Christian school in Bon County, in Banga today. If you ever heard about the both Muslim and Christian school that still exists in Bon County today, her father was the one that created that, and they all were there. So, and she is from Kidmore County, very well known there. Because I know the last time we went to Kidmore County, it was amazing. And I just forget, what was the next question you asked again, sir? Hello?
Dr. Fakes,
Are you there?
the second question, Fakes.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah,
got
my
you. You
next
said,
question, that's this, this putting mic on and off is a problem. So my next question, I just wanted you to identify one major issue that is a deficit for this current administration of Mr. Weah that you intend to focus on, and how do you intend to resolve it?
one major issue, actually, is that one. We counted it was up to 1 million, but I will emphasize on one right now. One major issue is the job creation, especially for our youth, because it causing our youth to be involved into a lot of things because of the lack of jobs. And Madam Bena and I had promised the Liberian people, once we get elected, that's going to be our primary concern once we get elected, to create job. I've already started doing that. Like I always told people, but I cannot do that much, as a small business owner in Liberia. I can't hire more than 40 person, but I have tried within my weak ways to hire as much people I can. And with us being leader of this country, it's a lot we can do, especially as far as welcoming a foreign investor in to Liberia. As we see for the last 6 years, there have been no foreign investor pulling into our country, and it's so bad that every jobs in Liberia is dependent on government. Everyone is dependent on government job, which of course is bad, and people barely survive on government jobs. So our main concern there was to create jobs opportunity, especially for the young ones, and to create rehabilitation center for most of our brothers and sisters who are addicted to drugs, and not
Yeah,
even not only.
just a follow up. You keep talking about creating jobs, but then you mention your own private initiative to do so, and also at the same time saying that government cannot be in the business of creating public service job. The research doesn't support that. What you're saying, okay? And that's number one. Number two, the military is a public service job. The police is a public service job. What's wrong with the government creating factories that would be able to harness our natural resources like agriculture rather than focusing on the extractive industries? So are you saying that government cannot create public service jobs as like factories for Liberians to work if that is what is needed? Like for instance, America never had any homeland security until there was a terrorist attack, and it became necessary for them to do a complete departure from what is traditionally understood about the role of government. So are you saying that your government would not innovate in the interest of the Liberian people?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying here is, as you can see, both of us can see currently, uh, right now, the current government does not is not capable of doing that. So what I'm saying, if we get into leadership, we will be able to create those avenues to create jobs for our people. Government can do that, but it based on the qualification. It based on who the person who is doing the job. Who is there to create job. And like you see currently right now, and you and I in Liberia, there have been no job creation because there's no one in government who is proactive in doing so. Everybody cares about themselves, not the people. So that's what I'm basing on. I'm not government is the primary concern and is the primary job for a government to create jobs for its people. But it's not happening. But when we get there, it's going to be our primary concern. And I hear people talking, like, let me just emphasize on this first, because we are called the chosen ones. I hear people talking about the broom, the sweeper, the fixer, and the rescuer. After all these things are done, who do you choose to do the work? It's us. And that's what we're going to do, job creation.
Okay, let me leave you right there, and I'm pretty sure Coach Q wants to comment. Coach Q, this guy wants to make sure that Edizana Cummings doesn't get a shot at the presidency. Him and Madame Benu Krumah. What do you have for him?
Yeah, this is not necessarily about Mr. Cummings as a person, it's about our nation's future. So I have a couple of questions. First of all, I would like to know what Ms. Krumah's economic worldview is and what informs it. Second question, which nation have you studied with similar social economic posture as Liberia that went from being a poor nation to a successful nation, and what strategies can you copy or do you think we can implement that will help us go down that path?
I will. Let's go to East Africa. Like recently, I was in Rwanda, and as both of us know, Rwanda was worse than Liberia the last 15, 20 years ago. And if you go to Rwanda today and see Rwanda, if they ever told you that they were even involved into a civil crisis, you won't believe it. Those are just simple examples, and those are countries that we can merely just copy from, and Liberia would be a better place. I don't even want to go that far. A lot of people will emphasize on the US, Europe, or whatever, but I don't just want to go that far. Just those are just simple examples. Country that you wonder, and Ghana. Let's go to Ghana today. Before, people used to leave from Ghana to come to Liberia to seek education, to seek jobs, all these things. But now Ghana has become the hub of Africa, one of the hubs of Africa. Everybody go to Ghana for vacations, and Ghana is a place to be now. You go to Ghana, Ghana looks like Europe. So those are just simple places that you can at least compare or do some comparison with Liberia in terms of future development.
Yeah, so let me clarify my question. I don't think the gentleman understood my question, so I'll try a different way. It's easy to point out a country and say we're going to do what this country is doing, or we're going to copy that leader. What I was trying to get from you was what policies, what economic strategies that those countries that you just mentioned use, economic models that the countries that you believe that you have studied. We all see Rwanda. We all see all Southeast Asian countries and what they have done. I'm asking you, how much in-depth knowledge do you have of it? How much nuanced information do you have about what exactly did they do to build their economy, to build their countries? That would tell me you have studied the thing that you care about. I think it's too often that too many Liberians, too many economy to build their countries. Too many people. I'm hearing an echo of myself. Too many people. Too many people do that. Let me land on my question. Too many people do this. We need experts to lead us, and this is not a joke. When it comes to the lives of my children and other people's children, tell me specifically, what have you studied? What strategy has been used that you people plan on? And you didn't tell me what our economic worldview was and what informs it. So please respond to those questions.
The strategy we have studied, I in particular, let's go back to Ghana. Recently, Ghana. I will look at the open door policy. I think President Tubba created that, and it worked very well in Liberia. And Ghana did similar thing like that recently, where every African American from America that comes to Ghana is automatically a citizen and can invest. You can build house. You can do anything in Ghana, which is causing the economy to really boom. And I saw it, and it's a great thing. Those are strategies we can bring into Liberia and will really help Liberia, because most Liberia is considered like American child. So if we do these things and say, hey, every African American that comes down to Liberia, automatically you become a citizen and you can invest whatever you do. You become part of us and you own it. That will create a lot of jobs and it will really help our economy. So those are some great strategies. I think President Tubman, whoever did that in the past, it was the open door policy that he welcomed in foreign investor. And while the investors were in the country, they were hiring Liberians to work, and it was great. But this time around, we're going to do it another way. We welcome our own brothers from Europe, like Americans. It can be white or whatever. Once you come in with an investment, we open our hands to you. We, give you citizenship, no hustle, and then while you are in the country, you bring in a lot of development, and that creates jobs for the people. And those are some of the great strategy we can condone in order to develop Liberia. I think, from my perspective.
Thank you, Coach.
You didn't speak to what her economic worldview was, and yeah.
Are you done, Coach Q?
No,
I was asking him to please respond what Ms. Cromar's economic
worldview was. Political leader, Madam Madam Cromar, like I said, she had worked with the war a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Strategies.
You're bringing it.
She, like I said, my political leader, Madam Madam Cromar, had worked. Are you getting me? Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I said previously, my political leader, Madam Madam Cromar, had worked with the world, third largest economy in the world. So there's no doubt that lady has some really great plans, economic plans for Liberia. And she and myself almost share kind of the same vision for Liberia. And her economic policy for Liberia is a great package. She should have been on the show this evening, but due to some engagement, she's not here. And I will rather her elaborating on it better than I would do. So
yeah, thank you. And we hope that you can get in touch with her so that she can come on the show In the meantime, folks,
Yeah.
we need your support. The Cash App and Zelle is on there. Any little thing that you can do just for the maintenance of the platform. Mrs. Lexi Brooks Roberts, uh, Mr. Thomas Correa is here. He wants to be the next vice president.
Ashford, can
Yes.
we welcome Miss Josephine Marshall, please?
Yes, I was
She's
going
been
to do
on for a
that.
while.
I was going to do that,
Okay.
and Mrs. Roberts, I want when you speak, then I would bring in Mrs. Marshall.
No, you go ahead and introduce them because I was going to say hi to
Well,
them, but I don't know who
Minister,
they
by
are,
the way,
who she
Minister
is.
Marshall.
Minister Marshall. Well, folks,
Minister
I know
Marshall.
most of you
Okay.
don't know about this, but we started this thing together. Long before Bridge Radio, as far back 2009, 2010, that I ran into Miss Marshall, and she has a communication background as well. So we started working together, and then we went apart for a long time, and then I found out that she was back into the business. I said, "But Josephine, what's going on?" He said, we started this thing together. We started from Voice of Jeter, and then she said, "You boy, 18 year is getting big. It can't just be Voice of Jeter. We have to take it to another level." Then I went to Liberia, came back, and here we are again. She's a great friend and a younger sister, and she has a lot to offer. And Miss Marshall, in just a minute or two, introduce yourself to the world.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Pastor Atos, and to the panelists. I want to say thank you for inviting me on the show. My name is Pastor Josephine Marshall Davis, and you said, "Oh,
You're talking how Datus or Coach Q. This series coming west again. Go ahead, Giselle.
anyways, I'm very excited to be here. I came late, but I'm excited to hear what's going on. I believe that more and more women needs to come into this, arena, this topic to talk about Liberia because of Liberia. And I believe that we're not to be left on the wayside because we can do better. And I think we can even take Liberia, Liberia up because I don't see really what our men are doing. And it's a sad story for some of the things that I hear. And I just wanted us to open the eyes of Liberians because I think our people in Liberia depend on us who are in the diaspora to open their eyes because coming to America or Europe or whatever in the diaspora means education, meaning getting enough information to be able to take back. But I don't think we're doing it. And with this election, it is really crucial for us to be able to open the eyes of the people to vote because in the beginning, they were all excited about what they wanted. And now it did not, come into fruition of what they need. So in this new season, we need to educate, and not make the mistakes. So thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Roberts.
Awesome. Welcome, is Minister Josephine Marshall.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. And I like the balance. I like the way we're centering this gentleman right here. It makes me feel even better because I feel sometimes intimidated. They try to intimidate me, but I hold on. But back to the gentleman. And for the record, Mr. Garley, we also have Miss Nancy Beslow in the race, so she's the other woman.
Okay.
Yes, Nancy Beslow. She announced, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. But the gentleman, okay, Mr. Crow, welcome to Bridge Radio Africa. My question to you is, as you know, with 3 months before election, why are you guys so late, and how are you going to, make yourselves known for the electorate to know who you are and your platform? What is your platform?
Mr. Kura?
Did you hear me?
You kind of were breaking out that. I didn't hear the beginning of that question.
Less than 3 months to election. What is your platform?
Okay.
No, I didn't hear the beginning of the question, please.
Well, I said yes. We're 3 months to the election, and how are you going to catch up with the rest of the candidates? Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Mr. Garley, can you guys hear me?
Platform, and our platform currently is.
Okay. Well, I think we having problem with them.
Yeah, like I said, my standard bearer have been working prior to I being selected. Yes, I'm hearing you.
yeah, go ahead, speak.
Like I said previously, I was just vetted as the vice president.
Oh, he's gone. We wanna bring in Wilbert Wilbert Follett. He's representing the team Gonglo here. And Wilbert, just so you know, I know you guys had a program for Gonglo. You made a lot of money. British Reader is here, so you see the cash app and Zelle. This platform belongs to Liberia and belongs to the people of Liberia. Why is it true that we don't support any political party? We don't have the kind of money that the other people have. You know that you get about the closing argument, and now start on the argument, then even to close. And the government supporting them, you know, and Spoon still know what it's been got other kind of money. We our Henry readers. So we just yeah, you know, any late that we can put a fire. Go ahead, Wilbur.
Well, like I said, thank you. Thanks to Pastor Ade, uh, and you, Ash, for my good friend, for inviting me on to be a panelist on the show. I mean, with representing Councilor Gongo. Um, okay, I think the brother is back on. Um, Actually, I don't have question for our brother because today is my first time hearing the name of his standard bearer. I had no clue she was even there was even someone in the race with that name. The only thing I can do is wish them well. And one question I had that was already asked by our sister is why so late? I think that question was already asked. So I actually don't have any question because I'm just hearing the name today.
Thank
Oh,
you.
can I come in?
Yeah, come in.
Oh, apparently you have not heard the name, or apparently you have not heard about her presenting herself to the Liberian people until now. But I tell you what, Madam, prior to me coming on the team, Madam Ben Krumah have been working vigorously. And it's like I was surprised. I was just in Grand Kidmont a couple of days ago, and overwhelmingly the people over there support her a lot in large number because that's where she's from. And like I said, her father was the first person that created the Islamic and Christian and the Christian school in Bangor, Bon County, and she's well known over there. And we went there, and it was a bomb. And I'm from Nima County too, and my name is a household, my last name, and I'm well known in Nima County. You know, so I mean, nobody should just underestimate us. And we've been around and we're working. We probably not be on social media, TV station, but we in the villages, in the little towns. We got people, we got foot soldiers, and then we are working. We are around. I mean, and I'm glad that you're getting to know us today, and just ask a few people about us in your villages, in your hometowns, and they're gonna tell you a lot. And there's a lot of things going on behind the scene. We are not all about publicity, but we are working.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I ask a follow up?
Yeah, you can
Sure.
ask and just before you come in, one Sonny Bridge is asking whether they have facts about the government supporting the closing argument. Just so you know, the closing argument is my grandson. I brought it into the space of the media, so I know some things that you don't know. Go ahead, Mrs. Roberts.
Yeah. So, Mr. Crowd, I don't know if you told us your platform. There's so many issues that plague our country, as you just heard. In fact, today or this week, I heard about the women coming up to ask for the 30% representation with NEC. What what specifically are you working to change besides, of course, that we spoke of employment, but there are other issues, rape, killing, securities, and on, the drugs issue, of course. How are
Yes,
you going to tackle these issues, or some of them?
we we are vastly looking at the drugs issue that is affecting our country today, and dealing with drugs in our country has to do with security, especially our Liberian security. And if the security is not strong, there will always be flow of drugs into our country. And that's one thing we have to tackle, the security issue. When there's a stronger security and stronger laws that put in place, there will be minimum drugs brought into this country. I tell you what, madam, right now Liberia is considered one of the world top transit point of drugs. Most of these countries in and around the world transit through Liberia. That's what they've been doing until we got to know recently of the $1 million drugs case. And it's sad. It's very sad. And those are things that we are going to primarily tackle drugs. And with that being said, we have to primarily make sure our security are well placed. And that's the only way the issue of drugs is going to be alleviated from this country.
Miss Josephine Marshall will come in, but just before then, wait, Mr. Crowell.
Yes.
Because George, we are beginning president by mistake, so anybody can just get on and say they want to run for president.
Well, if you look at my profile, as compared to a lot of the people, Madam Beno Kroma and I, we are well prepared, we are well qualified, and we can better lead Liberia as compared to most of the candidates you see around. And I won't specify anyone, but I think, I've probably not been in a space like that. I've been around. And the reason why I should have just left this whole thing and say, hey, when I was offered this position to be the vice presidential running mate, I should have just said, hey, you know what? I don't have to do it. And then a lot of people ask me, hey, why would you want to miss business or politics? It feels very sorry and I'm very hurt. And I think with me being into business and coming into politics is to is to help our people, is to make sure Liberia is placed into the better place, and to make sure our brother and sister who are into drugs, into other things, into poverty, to be rescued from that. And it's just sad. It's sad. I'm in Liberia every time, and I see it. I've been in Liberia for the past 14 years. I see it every day, and I never thought and I never dreamed of getting into politics. But it had reached a point where I have to throw my punch very hard too.
Yeah, I said they're presidenting it right away. Mrs. Marshall, please come in.
Yes, thank you, sir. My first question to you: given existing budget constraints in Liberia, as we all know and can see, how would you stretch taxpayers' dollars? And my next question would be, what are your top 3 legislative priorities if elected as vice president?
I don't know, probably you would not yet preview, but like I said, my presidential candidate, who is Madam Beno Kroma, she had to work with the world's third largest economy, the state of California. And so speaking, I think the budget she worked with, the budget of California is 100 times the budget of Liberia. So with that being said, we are well on top of that, how to stretch the budget, what to do. And we have team, we have knowledge, we have vast knowledge towards that. As I am an accountant and I know what to do.
So please give me an example. I know you're saying, she has well knowledge, about the economy and but I just want to get an example, because right now we all know our economy is, in the mud. So if you could just give an example of, some of the things.
What we need to do, we need to cut a lot of unreasonable spendings. Like in Liberia, like if you come to the house, the both houses, there's a lot of money that's been wasted, and we need to cut down that. And in doing so, you need a president that will not bow down to those lawmakers. I mean, you should be able to speak out instead of presenting brown envelope you present red envelope to them. So with all being in the leadership, that's what we're gonna do. There's a lot of spending that going on in Liberia currently that is unnecessary and it's not good for the country. We're gonna cut down all of that. And we are working on it, even though we have not been elected, we are working on it behind closed door in order to execute that in our first day of being in office.
Okay, I know Idatus will come in, but just before we go to Idatus and of course Coach Q, your best friend is in the news today, Henry Costa, and you guys come a long way. Why have you distanced yourself from Costa?
Mr. Garley, as you said, Costa and I came from a very long way, and you see, most of the time, Costa he used to be on the show. We'd be like, okay, go to my friend, the guy in Liberia. You know who to go to, right? Okay, so I was that guy, and I was there from the initial stage. I thought both of us had the same goal, and I thought we had.
When you say go to my friend, you know who to go to. What does that mean?
Those are terms that used to be used on the show sometimes. If you listen to it carefully, you will know. Yeah, but then, like I said, he still remains my best friend. Even before Costa came to Liberia a couple of days ago, he and I had a conversation, and I tried to ask him. I said, Costa, hey, what's going on? You were the leader of CPP, and then after that, you came to Liberia. You said you were going to run as a senator.
You
and then
can't
you
call
left.
somebody your best friend and attack them publicly.
No,
the media space and attacking them. I saw your utterances on Costa. You attacking publicly, calling him names. Then this is the same guy you claim to be your best friend. How do you argue that?
I did not call Costa name. I attacked Costa on the issues, and I talked to him on the issues. Costa is my friend, but he's not like to be confronted with the issue, and that's one of the problems. Costa today, as we speak, Costa should have been the darling boy for Liberia, but I have been in support of Costa for several years. But then, when it comes to temperamental issues and other issues, the way the utterances, you cannot want to be a leader and kind of, have a little quiet, have quarrels with
supposed to be the darling boy of
sometimes you should have thick skin. I try to approach him on those issues.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah. So, like I said, I try to talk to him. I'm one of those persons that tells him stuff in his face. And yeah, I'm like I said, are you hearing me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying I'm one of those people that speak to Costa in the face and tell him sometimes when he's going wrong. I tell him which of course he hits to abide by, and you cannot have a leader that don't want to listen. I've talked to him on many issues. Don't get me wrong, we are friends. Recently, Costa and I said talk when I was selected to be a vice running mate. He called me to congratulate me, and we talked. He said, Tom, I'm coming to Liberia, and there's an issue we need to discuss and whatever. I said, well, you are welcome. We are still friends. But when it comes to the issue, I usually address it the proper way, because I think that's what it takes to be a leader. And that one person, I'm not going to be a follower. This country is not for joke. We don't have to play with it. Nobody coming to play with anybody's future yet. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Are you saying Costa is a joke? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying this country is not a joke. So whoever want to take it for the joke, you got to know where you stand.
But the same thing I go to you. Somebody might say, you're just by you saying that you want to be a VP is a joke. Others are saying on here that you should be a bodybuilder instead of running to be a VP.
A bodybuilder, well, a bodybuilder is something that you can do on the side. But being a VP is something that you can be elected, and a bodybuilder, you can take 1 hour to do that every day or 30 minutes to do that every day. But I'm talking of doing something that will sustain our country, that our country will benefit from. For me, like I always told people, you know, like it's not about the money or whatever I'm coming into this for. You know, I think what I have is sufficient for my family and I don't see no reason. You know, a lot of people won't see reason of coming into this race, but because of my people, because of the people. I see how the people suffer in Liberia, and I'm in Liberia every day, and the weight is also on me. And I tell you what, if you come to my compound, I mean, every day, every weekends, you see, you know, in Liberia, I spend no less than 600 hours every day.
Thank you.
And
I haven't heard that.
Let me just
I haven't heard that in a long time. No problem. Yes, go ahead.
Sir, this is a lot. This is a lot, and you're running for vice president, and this is this sometimes breaks. But you said something about being in Liberia for 14 years, but yet you are not giving the people the net to fish. You're saying you're taking money from your pocket and giving. So what really are you doing for the 14 years in Liberia to aid the Liberian people? Have you built? Have you decided to work with your president who knows about budget to build a library, to build something that would educate or help the Liberian people? Because what I'm hearing doesn't align with what you want to do, saying that I take money out of my pocket, because I feel this is what we've been doing in Liberia. Or I give this person $5, $10. But if you can allow these people, if you can give them the net to fishing, then it makes sense, to me. Or saying that, I did what we did was build a library, or we try to build a hospital, clinic to help, instead of telling me that you're giving people money from your pocket.
Oh, well, like I mean, if you follow my track record, I have people on scholarship. Like right now, I have like about 7 students in Rwanda that goes to college there, and then I have students in high schools to elementary that are sponsored in school, and sometimes like I said, if I mention about giving handouts, this is Liberia, sister. Even if you come to Liberia, trust me, sometimes it's tough. While walking on the road, you will see someone who is daily in need, and you know that the person is in need. That's when you give that. That's why I mentioned.
I understand. I just wanted to know, since I came in, what you're doing.
Yeah, so I have people on scholarship, and then I have people that I commendate, like some people that we refer to at most of the disadvantaged youth. I have a place here, like or where I have like 4 apartments in there, and I accommodate them there, and I feed them, in the Duporo community, and it's a lot of other. And it's a lot of other stuff that I'm doing that I can't even account of all of them. So
I just want to ask you a question, because I'm very interested. As vice president, your president is not here, but earlier when I came on, I heard you saying something about the government not giving jobs, but you're going to come in to give jobs. So what is the government for if the government is not to help these people or to help the Liberian people with jobs? Because I overheard hearing you telling someone, I think earlier, that you guys want to come in and give jobs, but it's not the government to do that. So I want you to explain that better to me.
I mean, what I said previously is like I said because there's no concessions, there's no foreign investor being in the country because of that. There's no flow of job in the country, and if we become leaders of this country, we will be able to create jobs. Right now, the government cannot afford to do that.
And how are you creating this job?
Like I mentioned, I said like the model of Ghana, like what Ghana did for the last 2-3 years. What they did, they kind of had an open policy where every African American from America or whatever or European that comes to Ghana, Black European, they are considered a Ghanaian citizen, and where they will invest. And most of them, like I went to Ghana the other day, I saw a lot of Black Americans who owns businesses, who building in Ghana, and it creating a lot of jobs. So if we do.
So what about your own Liberian? Because this is the mistake. Also, I have not heard you talk about your own Liberian, giving your own Liberian, because you understand that a lot of Liberians in diaspora. So I hear you talk about foreigners. That I think I overheard you saying something about giving their citizenship, but I have not heard you talk about.
Yeah, but Liberia already has a citizenship. We have a dual citizenship here. Like a
No, no,
Liberian
I
doesn't.
understand. I'm talking about the Liberians that are in the diaspora to come in, and you only talk about foreigners coming into.
For Liberians are always welcome to their own homes. If this is your home, you're welcome and to invest. But with the foreigners, you are inviting them, you are opening the door, you're opening doors to them that when they come into the country, they can invest, they can do things, considering them to be like a Liberian citizen.
And I understand exactly what you're saying, but what I come from
Yeah.
is that brings me down to the laziness of what depending on others, because you have Liberians who are educated in the diaspora, you have Liberians in Liberia that are educated, that apart from education, they have trades, they know stuff. So I'm just I understand, I'm not beating you down, but just coming on watching our people on the sidelines instead of putting their hands on.
I'll give him 20 seconds to respond. Let her not make
like I'm not watching the Liberians. I know we Liberians, we are capable of doing these things, and when it comes to the rightful leadership, every Liberian would love to come to Liberia to help their people. But the reason why you see several Liberians not coming here, you and I know, the country is deep down into the water. So most of us feel very reluctant. I speak to a lot of my friends. They say, "Hey, the day Liberia get better, I will come to Liberia. I will do this. I will do that." And that's what we are trying to do. Make it better. Then we don't have to welcome Liberians. We only have to welcome the foreigners. Liberians will come by themselves.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. And again, want to applaud you for taking time out of the busy schedule to be on the show tonight. You have a 2,700 people watching you that never knew about your candidacy as VP and Madame Benu Kruman. The Cash App and Zelle on there to support the platform. I usually say this to all political actors. This platform remains for the Liberian people and will continue to do so. When we come back, folks, we will talk about Alexander Cummings' visit to Philadelphia at the last weekend. Cummings now is getting tough, using profanity and all that kind of stuff. So we'll come back, we'll talk about that. Don't go away. This is ASHFORD GARLEY Live. Deep in your pocket, make use of the Cash App and Zelle. We love you too.
We're number one, right? Okay.
The phrase, a new sheriff is in town, does not only belong to law enforcement. How about the introduction of Liberia's premier vodka, a quality and customized liquor for all occasions? Try the flavor of your choice. Ham's Vodka, Ham's Honey, Ham's Bitter, and Ham's Original Vodka. Ham's Vodka has no hangover. That's what they say, Papa drank Mama happy. Ham's Vodka is sold in all stores, shops, supermarkets, and entertainment centers in Liberia. For wholesale, contact Ham's Vodka at 0777 001114, 0777 000-979. We can also be reached via social media on Facebook and IG at Ham's Vodka or www.hansvodka.com. In the United States, please contact Hans North America Incorporated at 610-543-9289, 484-888-1622, 484-755-8411. Hans Vodka is approved by the U.S. federal government. Hans Vodka brings out the real man in you.
Well, Coach Q, Mr. Cummings was in Philadelphia along with his running mate. Tell us about your impression, and then we'll go to Idatu's at it.
I too was in Philly with Mr. Cummings. He was welcome everywhere he went. I was not with them in the park, but watched it on a live. The occasion itself, which was a fundraiser, was very successful. The purpose of political campaigns and rallies like that is to energize your base and make them feel empowered and to push them forward to continue to do the work of spreading the message. And I think they did that. The Vice Senator Barrett's book She was the chief speaker at that time. The word's escaping me now, but she was a keynote speaker, and she did a great job. Standing ovation. She spoke with passion. She spoke with nuanced knowledge of what's going on in Liberia and how to fix our problems. After all, that's the work of public servants, is to fix the problems of our people to the best of the government's ability. And she spoke to that. So it was a well attended, well planned occasion, and I think those of us who supports Mr. Cummings leading our country left there feeling good about this occasion.
When you are weak, it shows in you. When you talk to people, know. So Cummings choice of words at the field. Was he trying to be tough?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question, um, and 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 I'm glad that I have an opportunity to speak before the pastor goes. So anyone who does any research on language, especially using whatever be described as profane language, here are a few things you'll learn. And I ask the audience to look this up. Okay, I'm talking about study after study after study, Harvard University to all the psychological study. Hey, people who use so-called profanity are mostly very intelligent people. Not only that, they're very creative people. So people who are more intelligent use that word. So when you say, and what you find out is when people are frustrated, Barack Obama used profanity when he was talking about a flood, right? So it happens when someone's frustrated, especially the question that was asked this man that has been asked over and over and over again. And for him to say BS, that's the profanity you're worried about. There's Puritanism in Liberia. There's fake Puritanism. Is nauseating to listen to. Oh, Mr. Cummings said BS. Like, yeah, people cuss sometimes. Okay. Very smart people, very successful people. If you look that up, you'll find out that they use words like that to express frustration, short of killing someone. So they don't act on things, they use words. And that's why we live in a country where freedom of expression is part of the first amendment of the American Constitution because it's that important. So yeah, Mr. Cummings, no one said he was perfect. As a matter of fact, I'm glad he spoke the way he did, because when people keep bringing up the same mundane, idiotic topic over and over again, yeah, you get to tell him that's BS, and he should, and he's a lot more refined than I am. In corporate, like I said, I would have said a lot worse to them. And if you want to question my intelligence, go for it. We can always measure it, though.
You see, you can say stupid and sly in America. Liberia is not America. Barack Obama was president. Cummings is trying to become a president, not in America, in Liberia. Think about how Liberian people see his utterances.
Yeah, I think Liberian people see him as a human who's frustrated at the same question over and over again. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think it was strategic. I think it was purposely said. You're asking this man the same exact question about his sexuality. You are trying to emasculate him and trying to not justify, but legitimize this question that he's been asked over and over again. As a matter of fact, the people who thinks that Mr. Cummings is a homosexual because he answered the question as a corporate person are not very intelligent or do not understand the English language when people say struggle with. So I think he's been way too restrained for way too long.
Thank you.
He is trying to be a president of Liberia. Liberia have a lot more profane things to worry about, like a fake person running for president. Like
Thank
Joseph.
you, Q. Thank you, Idatus.
So, Asheville, this is the city of brotherly love. It was a nice thing to have Mr. Cummings here. I didn't attend any of the occasions. He visited the famous Domboy place, and then he went on the football field. I don't want my president using profanity, no matter how much pressure he's under. I certainly understand his humanity, but there are people who do not know and are yet trying to seek clarification as far as his sexuality, something I wouldn't ask or do not ascribe to, but the fact remains. There are young children who are watching, our political candidates who are always out to remain a model. And I was not comfortable hearing him using the F word, with respect to how dirty Monrovia is. I wasn't comfortable hearing him use the BS word, in defining himself. I think that it can be a bit frustrating, but it is under those times when you demonstrate that pressure will not break your decency. I saw the Honorable Joseph Boyka, who has sustained so much criticism to the point where many have called him paralyzed and dead. But every time he addresses the Liberian people, he remains poised with wisdom, integrity, and he speaks with civility as embodied by the dignity of our presidency. So other than that, I think it was a good showing of support that he came here to Philadelphia. He went on the sports field. He met Liberians who sought clarification from him. But I certainly understood his passion, his frustration with Liberia under this very failed government, which we're trying to unseat democratically. So I certainly understand that his frustration to see Liberia get clean is great, as far as a president who takes 9 more days to go to Israel and find Jesus. So we are certainly in a very serious problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Weber Foley, I saw comments on the social media at the very few that we campaigned together when you wanted to be president of the association in Philly. What was your only impression about Cummings' visit to Philadelphia?
I think he did a good job. His entire team did a good job with the outreach. That's something I think every candidate should do. Come to America, or go to the diaspora and speak to Liberians, especially those in America. And I'm not trying to put those in America above any other country, but a lot of Liberian politics is dictated from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So my problem I have with Cummings, first let me say this, prior to Gongo getting the raise, Cummings was one of the persons I looked at because I felt he was not associated with the tainted corruption of Liberia. So he was one of those persons I looked at. But after a while, when Gongo got in the race, I looked at Gongo, a man who has been tested and still proved to be someone you can rely on, clean, corrupt-free. So I went with Gongo. But my disappointment with Cummings, which I have the clip here, I had just left the soccer field when Cummings arrived. So I got in the house. One of my friends texted me and said, "Oh, Cummings is here." I said, "Okay, let me see. Maybe I may come back out." But then I received a clip. While I was preparing to go, I was watching it live, and I listened to a question asked Mr. Cummings, what would you do? I mean, the question was, will you support the opposition if you don't make it to the second round? I think the guy used the word collaboration, whatever it is. And Cummings said he does not foresee himself losing. He believed that he's going. I do have to record it. He believes that he's going to win. The guy repeated, "What if you don't make it to the second round? Will you support the opposition?" He declined to answer that question. He said, "When we get there, we'll make that decision." And for me, that was my disappointment. It was a turn up not just to me, but a lot of the guys who were there, and I believe people from many places.
I mean, why should you be disappointed? Cummings was in Liberia. He campaigned 2017. I mean, he came fifth or sixth place. Now, Cummings is the hardest working politician in the country. Cummings has subdivisions in the country. He's on the ground. You are in Philadelphia eating burger. Why should you be disappointed? He knows what he's talking about, perhaps.
I'm disappointed because this is a man who I think a few months ago said he would support any opposition candidate who makes it to the second round, even if it is former VP Joseph Boakai. What changed that?
Can I comment?
Yes, what changed that? And let me tell you,
let him finish.
From the opposition standpoint, we are looking to remove the George Weah government. This is a disaster for Liberia. We are looking to remove him. When we have one of our strong opposition candidates who refused to commit to supporting an opposition who makes it to the second round, it reminds me of what he did in 2017. He refused to support Joseph Barker in the second round. I thought it was a mistake at that time, and I believe he's on track to do the same thing. And I personally think that will kill his career, his political future in
Thank
Liberia.
you. Thank you. You keep fighting among yourselves and see the ball go for another 6 years.
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Go ahead, Mrs. Roberts.
Yeah. I didn't hear that clip, but I heard of it through other people, where he used I think it's BS. For me, I don't find it offensive.
He also used the F word.
Yes.
Oh, the F.
Joseph Barker doesn't give interviews.
My man, we're not talking about boy guy right now. We're talking about coming, my brother. Hey, Q, Coach Q.
I thought we were talking about yes. I didn't hear that. Anyway, let me speak to the part with since I didn't hear it, I can't speak to it. I thought it was the BS that you guys were talking about.
No, I mean, he said the BS, and I also heard the S word, but I didn't hear the F word that dude just alluded to.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. So he has always said that he would support whoever makes it to the second round. And contrary to what you just said, it has been no other candidate has said that. No other opposition person has said Mr. Cummings. Only Mr. Cummings has said he would support whomever goes to the second round. But if no one else is saying it, I guess now he says, let me hold on, because if we're all in this playing field and I'm not getting the same response, so I'll just wait. But from what he has said all along, this is like 3 months now to the elections, and maybe he just didn't want to answer that based on whatever he was feeling at the time. And I can't speak for his mind because I don't know, but I'm just saying he's always said that he would support. So sorry for your disappointment, but that's how he feels. Maybe it was circumstance.
Ashford, 30 seconds, please.
I will bring in okay, no, make it 20 seconds. Then Ms. Marshall will come.
Okay, quickly. 30 seconds. Disappointment.
I said 20 seconds.
Yes, sir. This doesn't start now. Disappointment is a part of life. I coach for a living. No competitor go into any competition thinking after I lose, it's just not the mindset of people who come from nothing to become what Mr. Cummings did, especially with his accent, with his Liberian, with no connections. So for someone to be disappointed that he's not, first of all, he said it ad nauseum. That means he said it over and over again. He would support the opposition. But Mr. Cummings doesn't have to do that. He's a competitor. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. That's what competitors, that's how they do.
Thank you. Ms. Josephine Marshall?
Yeah, so like I heard Coach say, we are looking at our leaders in a special way, and you will definitely have questions. Maybe the reason why you have repeated questions is because you might not know that someone had asked that question, or even if you did, but I think you should stay calm and be able to answer those questions that people are asking. I don't think Mr. Comey is gay. It's politics season. We hear a whole lot of things that go on, or being said about people, but I would just stay calm and answer those questions. Now I go with what the brother said. At this junction, most Liberians probably want to unseat George Weah. So they want to know if any of these people who are running will be able to support, if it goes into the second round, to be able to support the other person. And like the sister has just said, the comments have been saying it, they want to probably just clarify and verify and make sure that what they're saying, is going to be the right thing that they're going to say, not say it, because we all saw that with Brunskin when he left the people in limbo to go and vote for whoever they wanted to vote for, when he could have said, vote for this party. So I think this is the question. Everybody's like, okay, if we don't get into, first round, just, someone taking in the first round, then the second round would, all these parties that are coming, because you have to understand, everybody that's coming in the race now is taking something. They're taking point from Cummings, they're taking something from Bwaka. So people want to know if you're, in there, just the two people, and you are not into the second round, will you be giving your vote? So I think these are questions that people want to know because they're eager. So I think it's a valid point, and I can understand what the young man said.
Thank you. Well, folks, we want to say a big thanks for taking up time. Before we do our closing statements, we want to go to the Honorable Thomas Kura. I think you made some name for yourself tonight. whether good or bad, the people have gotten to see you. Almost 3,000 people saw and listened to your message. Now, our request to you is, when are you bringing your political leader or your standard bearer to British Radio Africa? That's the question, and you cannot begin your closing statement, sir.
Well, I would like to thank everyone on the show for having me on for this night. And as far as bringing my stand-up barrier, she is very open to that anytime. And what I would like to leave in the minds of the Liberians people today is, whenever a country is being rescued or fixed, swept, you need someone to rule. You need a chosen leader. And we are the chosen one. And we are asking you guys to stick with our team. We are here for the Liberian people, the Liberians people, and we will make sure things are better in Liberia than ever before, and we will make sure there will be no drugs in the streets. There will be jobs opportunity. There will be equal share of the wealth in Liberia, and every citizen will be very happy with this country. So we ask that everyone listening to us or to me tonight to be able to monitor our activities from today. I know some people said they're just hearing about Benin Kumar. Like I said, she's been around. She has worked in the world 10th largest economy, which is the state of California. And I've been around. I have worked hard, and I've been doing business for the last 14 years in Liberia, and also I have a business in the States. And I ask that we are here to do the Liberian people work, and we ask that the Liberian people work with all in doing so, that Liberia will be a better place tomorrow for our children, not for us, because it's late for us right now, but we got to do it for our children. So
Thank you.
Thank you for having me over tonight, and I appreciate everyone here tonight.
Thank you. I know Cash App and Zell work in Liberia, so we're still looking forward to seeing that thing go. Oh, thank you so much. We'll talk to you some other time.
You have a VPN, though.
Say that again.
Thank you.
You gotta have a VPN to have that.
But I mean, you're the guy. You know, you're the guy now. You know what to do. Okay, thank you, my brother. And for the closing statement tonight, listen, I want to say this. I don't know who this guy is, John Heenan. Please, you can't be insulting people on here. Please have some respect for our panelists. I don't want to get in the business of blocking people. I haven't interacted with you before. Please respect the show and respect our panelists. I don't want you doing that. Thank you. Closing statements. I want to begin with Brother Wilbur Foley.
Well, thank you, ASHFORD, for inviting me on. And I want to say this to I see there are many candidates in this race. I'm shocked tonight to hear another new candidate. But the more women in the race is welcome. All I can say to Liberians is that after looking at what has been played in Liberia over recent time, it is clear there's only one person who has the ability to lead Liberia and take Liberia back to a state where it is respected and corruption will be tackled. And that person is no other than Councillor Telon Gongo. I'm saying this to say that Omen Boakai is a fine man, but just bringing back the entire Unity Party back, Cummings with the uncertainties, George Weah he's a disaster. There's no one better than Councillor Gongo. I want Liberian to reconsider this. Compare the last 17 years of your lives. Look at the Unity Party, corruption uncontrolled. CDC, corruption is a runaway topic. Give someone the son of your soil, a son of our soil, someone who has been tested and walk away from corruption, and that is Councillor Gongo. Liberians, that is a blessing given unto you. Councilor Gongo.
Thank you. Miss Josephine Marshall, closing statement, please.
Yes, thank you. Although I came in late, I know you guys were also talking on the topic of Henry Costa.
And
And
speaking of coming in late, the show starts at 8 o'clock, and that
I'm not really sure. So thank you. But anyways, the funny thing about us Liberians is that I see a lot of time when it's in our shoe is bad, but when it's in other people, then we tend to not want to accept. So Henry Costa came up with this press release and talked about what happened with he and the vice president. And play the devil advocate. We as Liberia, we just go in and begin to assume, oh, he's lying. We never did our research, and it bothers me because one thing about this great nation is that's why we see sometimes people tend to leave the killer and go to the person that did not do the crime. Meaning to say that because he said all these things, we say, oh, he's lying. He got $30 million. Who is the person that, gave him the $30 million? And sometimes we see people try to come in and give money. Just example, Cash App or GoFundMe, and like, don't call my name. I don't, want to be, So what I'm saying is, this is what we need to start to understand. If we like a particular person who's running, let us be truthful. If they did something that is not right, let us speak about it. And if it's right, let us speak about it instead of just looking at because we like that person, so we overlook everything else that is being said, about that person, and then call the other person a liar. And I believe most of the things that Henry Costa said, what Henry Costa said was true. I love JMB. He's my, pops. But sometimes when you do something, it's the truth. I know it's the political season and people think, oh, because this is coming out, it's going to hurt him or it's going to hurt this person. But let us speak the truth because why? We want a better Liberia. We need a better Liberia. We need change. And someone was talking about Ghana, the guy that was here, Jerry Rowland. What did he do? He had to close his eyes to cleanse. And cleansing means he did a whole lot just to bring Ghana to where Ghana is. We keep repeating the same thing, and wanting different results, as Kwame would say. So we bring these old politicians, bring them back, bring those that were corrupt and bring them back. So what is it that we want? And then I look at people overlooking. I would say I give kudos to Henry Costa because he
10
brought
seconds.
to this generation, he brought a lot of people to this platform, open our eyes into politics. And so with the young generation, we need to, like the young man came, congratulating him to come here to say that he wants to run for president. Anybody can, once you know you can do it, you can come and do that. We can't, continue to wait for someone else. If you're clean, if you can do the job, we
Thank you,
want
Judah.
to come in and do whatever you can. And to coach, again, I would say to you, I know it's is your president in waiting, but I think also we need to educate people that cursing in public or just talking to people shouldn't be something like that. That Komishu, he's a very good man, so he should be able to be temperamental when he's out there. Thank you.
Thank you. The Reverend Idatus added closing statement.
So, my fellow Liberian seditions, I want to appeal to you. Liberia can be better for you. And on the consistency of you shouting muya muya at your party headquarters is not the best vision for your life. You deserve better education, good schools, good hospitals, and not the crumbs of CDC. To the 70,000 civil servants, I want to appeal to you that you don't deserve to be getting paid intermittently. To our health workers and all of the dedication you are giving to our people, you don't deserve to be treated the way you're treated. I want to thank the people of Nima, Banga, and Margibi for receiving the Honorable Joseph Boyka. What you heard today, because we have critical minds, we'll ask critical questions. And no doubt the rescue train is waiting, ready for you to join as we think Liberia, love Liberia, and build Liberia beyond personal interests for the greater good of a wholesome functioning society. Patriotism above individualism must be our goal in these elections. Thank you.
The man that teaches you good things when it comes to coaching.
Yeah, so I want to close on this. First of all, I wish the brother was here to close that talked about Liberia is not a joke. I agree with him. I was going to have a follow-up question. Hopefully he can watch this at the end and type the answer. Liberia is a democracy with separation of powers. I don't know how the executive holds the legislative branch accountable with red envelopes. I wanted him to explain that. But Liberians, at the end of the day, we have to understand this. We are not the first nation in the world to experience poverty. There is a distinct formula that every nation has used to get out, and that's called mercantilism. That is the government intentionally and purposefully investing in its people from the bottoms up. I wish we had more time to ask Mr. Gunglo's surrogate some questions. Hopefully, there'll be another opportunity for us to do that instead of what happened today with the other brother. But Mr. Cummings is the only one who was talked about, who was giving interviews to anyone who were asking questions. As a matter of fact, he's given hundreds, probably thousands of interviews at this point. Mr. Boyka has now opened himself to the public. I'm mentioning him because he's another leading candidate for a major political party. Maybe if he's asked the same question about his left hand after the 100th millionth time, he might say, damn it, or something like that. Mr. Cummings understands education. We like his educational worldview. He talks about STEM education. Economically, he talks about the bottoms up, supporting Liberian businessmen. Those people will build the economy. It's really that simple. A person who wants to manage our country, we already have all the laws in the books, want to manage our country just like Southeast Asian nation countries has done, post-World War II countries. This is how you build an economy. The Liberian business people build the economy. The government supports them. So the choice is really that simple for any Liberian wanting a future for themselves, their children, and their country.
Thank you. Mrs. Letty Brooks Roberts, as we conclude tonight, with you being the co-host, we come a long way, and you finally have a support system now. You have Ms. Joseph and Marshall, and we also have.
You're not recruiting me.
We also have Wilbur Foley. I don't have to recruit. I just asked and you would come. You know.
I have my own.
Mrs. Brooks.
Thank you so much. Again, it was great having you, Mrs. Marshall or Minister Marshall.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing more of you. It's great to have a partner in crime. I want to say thank you to all of our panelists and of course to our VP vice presidential candidate. Again, it's good to have the opportunity that people have more to choose from. So we now can say they didn't just have this one person or two persons to choose from. They have a variety, 2 women and I think 4 or 5 men, presidential candidates. So I want to say thank you again to the gentleman who is, being disrespectful. In our opening statement, most of the time, we used to do that, but I think I'll get back to letting you know what you say and what you write is just as important. You do not insult or disrespect our panelists. If you're not enjoying the show, you can just turn and go to another one. But when you're here, please be respectful. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. And folks, I want to say thanks to all of you for taking the time to be here tonight. Listen, we have reduced our days of appearance now. We're going to be just here on Mondays and Tuesdays, okay? You want us to come on Fridays, chip in and have the platform, because this is something that we have passion for. We come in to do this for the love of the what we do, and besides, we have to go hustle too and pay bills, And there are others out there who are doing this 5 days a week. Yeah, they have that other kind of money. We done,
They get stipends.
And they get stipends. You see what I mean? As long as Letty Brooks has been here, I can't tell the last time you tipped her or something, but she's dedicated, and she continues to show up. So if you continue to help the platform, we'll do that. So we're on Mondays and Tuesdays now going forward. And if you want to call in the show to make a point, hey, visit the Cash App. If you don't, you will just listen. You won't have a say. I think that we should be doing that. Coming skin to Philadelphia, you're charging people $150 to enter. The men are millionaire. The men still asking for money. Why you can't have a small platform then to do something? You don't want to listen. You want to enjoy la brand party, but you can't support. This gotta stop, man. You gotta do something. I love something we do. Okay? Yeah, man. Until then, folks, we'll be here tomorrow night, same time, same place. Hey, as always, man, tough time don't last, tough people do. The height of a man is never known until he rises. And in the words of Les Brown, man, don't allow somebody's opinion to become your reality. All right? Stay focused. Stay away from negative, toxic, and energy draining folks. Stay positive. Stay blessed. Yours truly, the medicine of the microphone, Africa's media doobie do extraordinaire. I'm ASHFORD GARLEY. Have a good night.